Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wild and Wingless. Tonight I got myself the driver from Victoria, Todd Moule. Todd, how are you?
I'm good, thanks yourself.
I'm good. Man, look, it was very quick to try and get a hold of you. I know you got a lot of things going on, but to come on the show and all the rest, because I have been a bit of a fan watching you from like last year's Australian title, even back when you drove up in Darwin there with the sprint cars. So you've been a very quick driver getting around. But for people out there who don't know who Todd Moule is, can you give us a background of how you got started in racing to where you are today?
Yeah, it all sort of started with my dad. Like I was six weeks old, and he went on World Series. So yeah, we did that for the first 2 years of my life. It was on the road chasing around World Series with my dad, and yeah, just watching him race sprint cars and virtually anything he could get into. Well, my whole upbringing. Then it got to about 14, and my dad never wanted us to race any, especially junior sedans. He didn't want us to race juniors because there's always such a drama when it comes to kids and dads and parents. But he got convinced, and we got a junior sedan, and me and my sister, like we had one each, and yeah, we were quite we were pretty decent in the junior sedans, and then when I turned 16, we jumped straight out of juniors, and we actually bought a late model, and I raced a late model for I don't know, it
Wow.
was about eight nights or something like that,
Yep.
and that was because my dad never wanted me to race sprint cars and get hurt. He didn't want me to get hurt racing sprint cars and stuff because he broke his back a couple times, and but that was always my dream. And then COVID come around, and I had a really good sponsor, and we still had cars, sprint cars and stuff at home, and I was able to con dad into a bit of a deal to go sprint car racing, and then
Yep.
yeah, we've been sprint car racing. I've had a couple of opportunities driving some other stuff. Been to America the last 2 years racing sprint cars, and we were lucky enough to get a feature win over there racing a wing car. But we also raced a bit of USAC non-wing stuff too, and then Larry and Rosa with the V30 and the wingless. They've been family friends of us for my whole life. They're like another set of parents to me, and they had a couple wingless cars, and yeah, so we've just been having a bit of fun with the wingless as well.
Yeah, nice. So, out of all that, how many would you say years or so have you been sort of racing wingless?
Racing wingless was only the last 2 years. So I did a couple shows. I did the three shows before going to Lismore in the wingless,
Right.
and then I done I think two shows this year before going to the Australian title.
Right. Okay, good. So that means from when I first saw you driving, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Wow, geez, you took to it quite easily, didn't you?
yeah. Like it's they're very competitive cars. It's they actually I don't think they get enough credit for the drivers that are in them. They are extremely good, and I'm just lucky with the situation I'm in. My dad is he's very knowledgeable in the sport, so he makes my life a lot easier when I hop in these race cars. If he's around, he gets me pretty comfy pretty quick.
Yeah, nice. No, because just the way you were at Lismore there, I thought you were definitely someone to keep an eye on. I still stand by my comment. I reckon you would have made it through the A if if your dad didn't decide to yeet you the way he did. I had no idea what was going on there. We were in the same heat as you. We were hoping to sort of get a good result. Next thing I know, father and son. I thought, geez, and we were pitted opposite you too. So I was like, full getting ready to sort of jump in there and stop a fight. But no, it was you guys took it pretty well. But yeah, how was
No, we
that
had a good
racing against
race.
your dad there at Lismore?
That was kind of cool. That's the only time me and my dad have ever raced against each other, and we were on the front row of a heat race. And it's a bit dark. It's a bit dark there at Lismore, and his side is he's terrible. He can't see for shit these days.
Oh
So
man.
he grabbed the infield there and wheelied it into me, and we nearly flipped it. But
Yep.
uh, I'm quite fortunate to have a good relationship with my dad, and yeah, we don't really have too many issues.
Yeah, and also that weekend too. It wasn't just you and your dad racing. From memory, I think it was your sister. She was racing too.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
three.
my sister, yeah, the three of us. Yeah, and she the only reason she wasn't at Mildura, she would have been there too, but she just had a little boy, so little Levi, so her and Angus Hollis had a little boy, so
Yep.
yeah, so she had to hop out of the seat for a little bit.
Hopefully she'll go back and maybe Angus can take time out. I think. Um, no, that's good. So, what is it about wingless racing you enjoy? What is it? I mean,
I do have a lot of friends involved in it with Plugger, and there's like obviously Angus, my brother-in-law, and things like that, and they are quite enjoyable. And it's so expensive to run sprint cars these days, and I have to try and keep my bum in the seat anywhere I can. And the wingless are an affordable class where they can give you valuable seat time. So we look at it as that. Like if as much as if we can't race a sprint car, we'll try race the wingless because it's definitely more affordable, and the competitiveness and the racecraft of the drivers is definitely still there, and being so close with the caliber of the cars, it makes it really enjoyable.
Yeah, nice. I do actually quite like to hear when people drive from other divisions come race the wingless, and they get a surprise with the fact of how competitive they are. They're not just buckets of bolts like they were 10 years ago or so. Like now we're talking, like even like people are spending a lot of money on steering boxes.
Oh,
Whereas back in the day, you'd get a box with whatever bar you had in it. Now you send it off to old mate down in South Australia. You get the bar you want in it. You get everything perfect on your steering box, crying out loud. And then let's talk about your 12 grand shock packages that people are running. It's like far out.
I reckon probably 80% of the field at Mildura had nicer race winglesses than I do my sprint car.
Really?
Like they're absolutely. The professionalism of the class is exceptional. They've done a great job with promoting it, and to have 100 odd cars rock up that are all there, and for them all to stay running virtually the whole weekend, people have really stood their game up from when they started.
That's a very good point because I do recall when I first saw wingless back in 2012 or 2011, something like that. 2012. You're right. You'd start off with a field of X, and over the course of the 25 lap race, feature race, you'd lose like half. Not due
Yeah,
to accidents, just
yeah,
buckets of bolts
mechanical
just falling
problems.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah,
So hats off to them. They're getting their stuff together.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so what's been your like? I know you've been racing sprint cars, and you did a bloody good job too a few weeks back against like the big boys there of Jamie and stuff like that. But if we can try and keep it wingless oriented, what's been your highlight this season in the wingless?
It's definitely been the whole competitiveness. Like obviously the Australian title, that was a great weekend for us. We had a great weekend, and also the Victorian title. The couple of weeks prior to that, we put it on the pole, and we tried some things. We tried the Dirt X tire, and Paul Paul Solomon and that they're trying really hard, and they're getting it pretty close. I was pretty happy with it, and we just missed it with the tire car setup in that situation, and we went backwards a little bit in that feature, but. Uh, just to be able to be competitive with the likes of Brad Warren and Tyson Martin and all these guys
Yeah.
that race these things every single week at the top level, to be able to come in every now and then and race with them, that's definitely something to keep your head high about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting what you say about the Dirt X types. So you're racing what, both left and right rear tires, or just Dirt
Uh,
X's?
just just the right rear of the
Right
Dirt
rear.
X at the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good family friends with Paul and that, and he's trying really hard. They are the perfect tire for the wingless class for affordability, the compound of it. If everyone was to run them, um, you wouldn't know the difference in the racing, and the affordability would come back tenfold.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm a fan of what he's doing. I think it's good what he's doing. He's put his first thing, he's put his money where the mouth is. So whenever someone does that, you got to sort of stand behind them because they're that passionate about what they're doing. But yeah, okay. Interested about. So what's your thoughts on that tire? So because you obviously would have had the new pattern of the Dirt X tire.
Yeah,
Do you feel that? And I'm not trying to be nasty. Do you feel you have to have like? Because we found just recently running between a Hoosier and an American Racer. Some people can just whack them on. It doesn't matter what they run, and they run the same pressure. Whereas we found we couldn't do that. So were you sort of in the same boat there, or?
yeah, for sure. We had to do a fair few different little things. They have a quite a stiff sidewall in the new Dirt X tire. So I was, because we have low horsepower in the V6s, I couldn't get the tire to roll very
Hmm.
well. I think we rolled out that night with 7 pounds in the row, and I got nice bleeders, Swindells and stuff. So that wasn't the case, but they they're just something you have to change your mindset on. Like we tried them the week later at 4 pound,
Hmm.
and we ran them on a narrower wheel, and they were a much better tire.
Right.
We ran it on a 15. We actually made a 15-inch wheel for the right rear, and we dropped the pounds down to 4.5 pound, and the tire rolled over, did all the right things and stuff. So they definitely do work. You just got to try a few different things. People
Yep.
just need a. It's not a WAV, so you just got to make things different.
Yeah. No. Okay. Interesting. Thanks for the feedback. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Um. All right. Well, let's talk about how you spoke about the Australian title. Forget about all the stuff after the fact. Let's talk about the actual weekend. You guys rolled in there. Well, actually, but when I say you guys, it was the truck was there, but it wasn't as many people as was last year. So how? And
yeah.
also, I spotted you with a moon boot. I actually remember seeing you walking around 1 minute in a race suit. Next minute, I saw you out of your gear in a moon boot. I'm like, wait, does he have a twin? I was like, and then someone said, no, no. So, okay, what happened to you? What did you do to yourself?
So it was actually 2 weeks, week and a half before the Australian title. I was out riding 110 pit bikes with a couple of mates, and as you do on little bikes, I just it was an unfortunate mistake. I got in a rut, and the peg went through my foot, and it sliced my foot open, and I actually had surgery that same night on it, and because it had snapped tendons, my couple of my toes weren't bloody wiggling, so
Wow.
so I cut that, and they cleaned it up and stitched it all up. So actually, and that happened on a Sunday night, and that next weekend I went and ran Warrnambool, not Warrnambool, Avalon in the sprint car, and then the next week we went to the Australian title. So yeah,
So it definitely didn't slow you down.
no, it was fine in the race car. It was my throttle pedal, so just mum being mum, got me all sorted and patched it up enough so I could not feel it inside the boot. So
Yep.
yeah, I was pretty happy.
All right. So let's talk about your the Australian title at Mildura. You're happy with Mildura being the chosen track? You like Mildura?
Yeah, Mildura is an exceptional racetrack. Plugger and the team there, they do a great job. That joint is built for open wheel cars.
I
There's
think so. Yeah.
high bank, nice and wide. Like the racing showed all weekend, there was like for 100 cars, the amount of crashes we had is exceptional.
Yep.
Like, and that's doing of the racetrack, making it nice and wide, racy. Like you could start anywhere in a heat race, and if you and your car were good enough, you could get to the front.
Yep.
Like, and that's what really excited me about going there this year with the wingless. Like, it didn't like because the cars are so close and competitive. If you get to a one lane racetrack, you can really struggle. It doesn't matter how good you or your car are. But I just knew going to this place it really suited a driver.
Yep.
If you were a driver's driver, you could really make that place work.
Yeah, absolutely. So how'd you fare in your heats on the first night?
Yeah, on the first night, I think I won the first heat out of four. Had a good battle with someone from WA. Can't remember who the fellow was, but he was pretty good. Had a good battle with him. And then I think the second heat race I ran second.
Hmm.
We had a good heat race again on the fence, so that was a lot of fun. And then did you have two heats on the first night?
Yeah, two heats, and then you had
Yeah,
your prelim. Yeah.
yeah. And then the prelim I started on the front row with young Hayden Vickers, and was able to lead all 20 laps of that. So we felt pretty comfy going into the Saturday night.
How was your what did you feel about that change of with the prelim being involved? All prelims now, so five of them. What did you think about that format?
I was a little bit skeptical, like before the whole thing was out. Like when I seen, it, I was like, "Oh, it might take a lot of time," but it was great. It allowed everyone in the field to race. Like it's so cutthroat when you got this many cars and trying to run them all in one night. I think they did an exceptional job and changing of the format. I think allowed everyone in the field to have a fair go. There was a lot of people that travelled a long way, and if they were just to get a couple heat races in the C main or something like that, you feel
Yeah.
pretty disheartened. But to get a feature race for everyone on the first night is they did a great job with that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I actually I had a chuckle too because I think I saw it on the Sunday morning. Someone commented, "Why wasn't there any like a I don't want to name the sedan division, but anyway, why wasn't it?" And I thought, man, we had 110 nominated. You had
Yeah.
108 show up to the race on the first night. Where were we going to put a support class? Like you weren't going to have it. And I remember sitting there and I thought at one stage, man, we're going to finish up pretty early. Like I reckon my Eski's going to run out of beer here. Like we're going to have a lot of time. Like mate, we're going to be drinking from like around 9:30 to past midnight.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that didn't happen because I don't think we finished up racing until nearly like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So like it showed that yeah, hats
Yeah.
off to AWSR, hats off to that track because the show just ran and I didn't feel like we were pressured.
No.
Everyone had enough time and it got
Yeah.
done. So it was really good.
Yeah. Smooth for the amount of cars, and
Oh yeah,
I think and Plugger was able to get a rework in there, and that was enough. We didn't need another class to do that for us. I think they had it sorted.
that dude is on the money, I think, and it's sort of I don't think at the time a lot of people understood what they were experiencing. If only we
Yeah.
could have had a bit of a chance, I think, as competitors to go up and shake his hand. I'm pretty sure you would have had a lineup of not only all the drivers, but car owners, crew chiefs, everybody, because he did a bloody great job there. So, all right, let's move to the second night. Second night, you start off, you would have had one heat, then you rolled into your features. How was that heat on the second night?
Yeah, second night, we were, I think, second on points, so that inverted us to the four. And I had Chris Temby starting beside me, so I was, I hadn't on the first night really gauged myself off the top 5 or 6 cars. I didn't get a heat race with any of them, so I was a bit skeptical on the lap times were good and things. So I was really actually looking forward to starting beside someone like Chris. He's an exceptional racer with an exceptional race car.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, we were able to get the heat win there pretty comfortably. So I was felt very confident going into the feature that night.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, and then let's move to the feature. 40 laps around there. You're starting on the front row with the S11.
Yeah,
How was that? Like, just did you? Because I have to admit, like the lineup for it, there was a good crowd there. However, the crowd when you get 110 or 107 wingless drivers, 108, we also bring a crowd with us, our family
yeah.
and support and all the rest. So a lot of that was our own people, but it still looked pretty cool. Like when I saw you guys go 4 wide, all the rest. How were you? Like, what were you thinking? My second Australian title. My dad didn't take me out this time. Here I am on the front row. Like, this thing's pretty badass. Like, what was going through your head?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really take things too serious. Like I'm pretty relaxed on the dummy grid. I was actually on the phone to one of my other mates who was he's a crew chief on a sprint car, and we were just talking shit on the dummy grid. And I don't know. I try not to overthink situations like that because. Oh,
Oh, we lost him. Here we
sorry.
go.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Um, I've been in situations where I've overthanked situations like that, and I've made mistakes. So I just went in there, just it'll be a race, and if we're good enough, we'll be good enough. So I was quite calm and really just trying to soak it all in. It was really cool to have to be out the front and get to take a picture and things like that off the front row and the four wide. Four wides always give me goosebumps. It doesn't matter what class I'm racing. It's especially being off the front row of a four wide. It's definitely a special thing you can't take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, that's right. 'Cause sorry, I forgot about that. You would have had they got you all lined up on the front row. They did the camera walk. I don't know what they call it. And you would have, I think they interviewed the top. Was it 2, 4, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would have had a bit of a chat on the mic before you went racing, and then once the helmet's on, it's all bets are off. We're going racing. We're going to go get this one. Actually, I haven't spoken to Tyson Martin about it, but tell me from your side during the race, you and Tyson got together. Now,
Yeah.
when that happened, how were you feeling at the time? Because you were leading, like you were leading. Were you pacing yourself? Give me a bit of a background there.
I was running as hard as I could. I was just trying to keep the car as straight as I could. I was really unsure of what the case was. If I hadn't seen or heard anyone for a little bit, and I think the lap before Tyson had moved around a little bit, and I'd seen his nose, and I was like, all right. I tried to step it up another notch, but I didn't really have another step. And then um, when Tyson like went to slide me, like I at the same time I could have definitely broken and turned underneath him. I didn't even know he hit the infield or anything like that. I was we got together. I could have braked. I was like, it's Australian title. You got to just try and drive around. I would have done the exact same thing he did to me. Like
Yep.
I had no issue with that. That was racing and yeah, like I was spewing that we had another yellow. I really thought that after that, I was like, oh, I got to start searching a bit here. And I felt like we were probably got a bit better after the restart. Not after the restart, after he passed me, I went to the bottom for a little bit. I changed it a bit around and we actually got back by him at one stage there for a second. And I thought we were going to have a really good battle. And then the yellow come out and unfortunately they put him back a
Yep.
bit. And I was like, I went back to the lead. Now I'm like, shit, what do I do now? Do I run the bottom? Do I run the top? I'm trying to look at Dad on the hill, and he's not really giving me much. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I knew I was a sitting duck at that situation. I was like, he was better. He was definitely better than me in that night, and I knew he was going to come back.
Yep.
And having Luke Wheel right behind you as well, he is an extremely good racer, and he's been chasing one of these titles for a long time now. So
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be coming pretty hard as well. So yeah, I was very unsure on that restart. Yeah, definitely played with my head a bit.
Yeah. Right. Really.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he
was
got in the
just
psychological game. Okay.
yeah, just you think I thought like previous to it, Tyson Cumbia, I thought no one's going to get me on the top. Like I'm rolling as smooth as smooth. I've got the car as square as square. Like no one can be faster than me. I was thinking, I was like that, and then I was like, yeah, it must be the bottoms coming in or something because I was worried about rubber. That place can get rubber racing, and I was like, oh, I got to wait for it. I was trying to look, and no tires were really cleaning up. I was hoping to get lap traffic, but everyone was so fast in the
No,
field. We never touched lap traffic. I
no.
was thinking, I just need to get in traffic and hide. I was like, I just need to get in traffic and hide. I, I couldn't do it. I couldn't catch the
Yeah.
back of the field.
Well, one thing that amazed me was, yeah, right. He did go back, and I was standing on the hill there at turn two, and you could sort of hear a lot of people talking, whispering, amongst themselves, like, is that Tyson's Martin? Is that his shot over? Like, is that him
Yeah,
done? And I sort of sat there thinking, well, he's been bloody quick, and
yeah,
definitely you two were the fastest two there. But man, when he got back through to second, and
yeah.
then came after you, and he, who knows, maybe he realised he showed his nose to you earlier because when he attacked you the second time, it was just gone. Like,
Yeah, yeah. He knew that. Like I think I was running the bottom at the time, and he passed me on the top.
yeah,
I knew he knew like if he has to get on this and he just has to run and hide. And he did a great job. He
man,
didn't make one mistake after that. Like I got on his tail. I went back to the top and tried to do the same thing he did, and he just didn't make a mistake. He didn't gain any ground on me or anything like that. When I got back on the top, he just didn't make a mistake, and that's all you have to do in these races.
yeah, no, you're right. Well, it was a very hard 40 laps at the end of it, and like you said earlier, that Australian title was for how many cars we had for uh, the contrast of your drivers from your top elite to your club races. I thought everyone was pretty good to the fact you're right. Like the incidence levels were down.
Yeah.
Stupidity. Like I didn't hear too much about people getting upset with everyone. So I thought come the end of that night when the checker flag went and the little pyrotechnics show. How cool was that? Did you like that?
Yeah, no, it's always cool when you can. It's always better if you've run like Tyson would have had a pretty cool experience of that going off when you're passing the checkers. It definitely makes you feel like you've won the race because you see the checkered flag sometimes when you lead races and you get a bit concerned, but when you see the fireworks, you know you're pretty safe.
Yeah, it's done. It's done and dusted. No,
Yeah,
I just remember that. That was cool. I thought, I wonder what those boys would have been seeing in that cockpit, like looking over at the flag, looking here, looking there.
yeah,
But no, 40 laps. Hats off to everyone who did it because it was a great race meeting all in all. And then actually, I saw you shoey too. I don't know how you could have standed that, but anyway, I thought, oh no, he's not. Yeah, no. All right, so let's talk about what happened after the fact. Um,
yeah,
so obviously the cars you had what parked for May then and there, and cars were inspected excluding motor. Your car
yeah.
could go back. Then you had to present your motor a later time. Talk me through it there.
Yeah, everything we thought was all good, and then everything was all good in the shed there. They chucked some seals on the motor, and everything was all good. And we went back to our trailer, and Guy Miller come actually to our place here, and on one Saturday, and he pulled it. They started pulling it down, and then yeah, we just unfortunately we found when we pulled the rocker covers off the motor pretty well straight away that we had valve spring dampeners on our valve springs, which at the end of the day it says in the rule book you're not allowed to have dampeners. We had the right part number. We got them from a credible supplier, and yeah, it was just a simple mistake by the engine builder. Didn't clarify the rule quite good enough, and it yeah, it sucks because me as a driver, we that motor hadn't even had the rock covers pulled off it since it was built, so no one had even seen it, and me as a driver unfortunately gets penalised now as someone that has nothing to do with the whole building of the car or the engine or anything like that, just someone that drove the race car for another team. And unfortunately it goes on the driver and the car owner, which yeah, I think there's definitely got to be some things looked at in the rule book on how it's being managed in driver versus car owner type situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. When I heard what was because I mean rumors fly around, right? Everyone
Yeah,
was
for
hearing
sure.
rumors. Rumors were going everywhere. one minute it's this car's been done, next minute it's that car. It's all different cars being done. When I got the image sent to me and I saw it was the dampeners there, I looked at that and my reply straight back to that person was honest mistake.
Yeah.
Reason being, I'm going to put my hand up and say we've raced on a budget, and I've done all the engine work myself. I'm no mechanic. When I've gone to a reputable, I'm going to call it reputable supplier who we're
Yeah.
encouraged to go to, and I asked them. They actually had someone from Wingless working there, and I asked him, "Can I please get a set of valve springs?" Um, yep, and I got them. Open up the box, and I've got this valve spring, and I've got something inside of it. I'm no mechanic. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm using. So I put them
Yeah.
in, and it wasn't until I spoke to uh, our tech guy from the club that I was sort of proud that I did an achievement of changing valve springs, and he sort of looked and I was, yeah, no, that's not legal. And I thought, hang on, but they came out of the box. Like
Yeah.
now, since then I've learnt they come out of the box today to, as you said earlier when we were having a chat, to prevent your 500,000 kilometre Commodore motor from getting lazy springs and having float there and all the rest. But they weren't OEM parts when the motors were built. So, all right, fair enough. But in saying that, and I'm not going to argue with the rule book. The rule book's there. When I saw it, I personally thought honest mistake. And the engine builder, some engine builders have got so much other stuff they're doing. They could be working on half of it. They overlooked it. Should they
Yeah.
have done better? Perhaps, but they overlooked it. But you've hit the nail
Yeah.
on the head with another thing too, Todd. And I've got to admit this: we have a number of drivers now in Wingless who I'm going to call hired guns. I'll consider you a hired gun. You're a very talented
Yeah.
driver. You got drivers like Chris Temby, Blake Walsh, for crying out loud. He's just gone over to WA now.
Yep.
You've got a number of guys there who are hired guns. Where's this going to now put them? And I know. See, you being a driver, you come to the deal. I'm probably going to get a little slack for this, but that's all right. You come to the deal where if I own the race car, I'm expecting you to come to the car. You're going to bring all your safety equipment. It's all in date. You're going to bring all your licenses that you need to drive this race car, and you're going to behave yourself in a manner that is by the book, right?
Yeah.
And you'll go out there and you'll conduct yourself, race hard, all the rest, and you're living up to your side. Well, how could you? How can the driver be? All right, I'll come drive your race car, but I need to pull the, I need to take the air cleaner off. I need to check your throttle body. I need to check your springs. I'm going to have to get inside your sump to check your crank. Mate,
Yeah.
where are we going with this? And that's why I sort of don't want to throw you down a hallway here, but I'm thinking, I don't feel. What did you get? 9 months?
Yeah, so they gave us the lower side of the suspension, but the unfortunate part of it is I've been suspended from the whole of Speedway entirety. I'm not even allowed in in a in a pit area. So I feel like I'm being treated like a criminal for driving someone else's race car. And unfortunately, if I ran seventh, no one would know the difference at the end
No.
of the day. Like,
And I
mm,
refuse to believe that those dampeners were the reason you got second. I refuse to believe that. And a lot of other people I've spoken to, they all agree with me on that one. And I'm not trying to put anything on AWSR or Speedway Australia, but I think
no.
something needs to be looked at in the future to say, because how many shows were you going to race as a sprint car driver this season? Well, how many
Oh,
more shows would you have run?
well, I've got opportunities to. I'm meant to be driving for a team at Easter Trail now, and we're going through this situation now where that's a really great opportunity for me in my personal career outside of wingless racing to make something of myself, or to get a situation where my parents don't have to pay for my deal. But yeah, it's definitely a tough situation, and I understand the AWSR and the Speedway Show. I think I'm the first situation where they've had this issue where they've got a driver come from another class, and they've had this issue where they are just a driver in a situation, driving for another team. I'm the first person that they've had this issue with, and the way the rules are written, they've done the right things. But I feel like there has to be a situation where common sense has to be in play, and you don't want to ruin, like, because say I get 9 months now, I missed the whole half of the sprint car season. I missed my
Yep.
whole Christmas period in the sprint car, and even in the wingless. Like, I can't, I might not be able to get my 3 shows in the wingless before going to Perth for the Australian title for the next season. Like, it really hurts me as a driver. and my career really.
See, you're young, right? How old are you?
Yeah. I'm 21 years old. Yeah.
21. So when I think about this, I think about when we went through COVID and all the rest. Some people could race, some people couldn't stay, depending on what our lovely
Mm,
state
Governments.
governments were doing. However, as soon as you take a young kid and you pull them away from that sport, 9 months a year, 9 months is pretty much a year, by the way. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but
it's a long time.
you pull them away from that sport and take them out for a year. Now you're not just out of the wingless seat for a year. You're out of a sprint car seat. You're out of anything speedway related. You can't go into any Speedway Australia. So really, what are you
I
going to
can't
do?
even go and help my friends.
No, that puts a pause on you as a driver to how
Yeah,
far you can continue driving with your craft, right? Learning, adapting, all this other stuff.
yeah,
So, mate, as I said to you before, as soon as I saw what happened, my reply back was honest mistake, and I just
yeah,
thought we need to do something. And I'm not trying to put anyone pressure on anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying, please, can we look at something where we've
yeah,
got people in this circumstances, where we don't take a year of their racing career off them, because who knows what you could achieve? Because I'm telling you now, you in the sprint car this season have been doing some really great things. Like, you've been rattling some cages of some of the big boys, and it's been pretty cool to see. So um,
yeah.
anyway, look,
For
I
sure.
wish you all the best with whatever happens. But in my eyes, mate, it's just unfortunate. I still think you got a lot of talent, so hold your head high. It definitely wasn't
Yeah,
a performance gain deal. So,
no,
but
no,
yeah, hopefully
no.
something can happen.
Yeah, we've been in the sport, or my family's been in the sport our whole life. At the end of the day, we don't rock up at a racetrack to be a cheat or anything like that situation. Unfortunate situation has happened, and we'll cop it on the chin and we'll move forward, and hopefully common sense can prevail, and we can keep moving on with our year.
Well, yeah, I think if, and I'm not being nasty to your family at all, please, and I'm not
No.
being nasty to your dad, but I'm pretty sure if he was going to cheat or anyone was going to cheat, you'd be doing something better than valve dampers, like, for crying out loud. Like, I
Yeah.
still believe we've got some very suspicious computers going on in our division, but I don't want to go down that road, so let's just hit reverse or pull out.
There's many more things that I think I'd do first before I'd went and put valve spring
Yeah.
dampeners on a motor that is going to get pulled down pretty easily.
Anyway, all right, let's go back to some good stuff. All right, so you've been
Yeah.
around for a while, Todd. So what's been your favourite racetrack you've raced at?
My favorite racetrack I've raced at, it honestly is Mildura. I've done a
Really?
lot in the sprint car there, and that place races unreal. Like, and yeah, as I said before, they do a great job, and yeah, I love that place, and I love Darwin too. Anywhere that's high
Yeah.
banked, a bit of a bull ring, I'm all for.
Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw something out here. I got a text the other day from someone who apparently is in the know, but it sounds like it's going to be a very good possibility that Wingless will be joining the Chariots again, um, for racing
Yeah,
up there. So it hasn't been announced officially. I mean, I can say whatever I'm going to say. No one really cares, but
no,
I think that's awesome. Every time Wingless are up there at Northline, I think they put on a better show sometimes than the sprint cars. But
oh,
anyway,
for
that's
sure.
just my 2 cents.
Yeah, if I can get able to race soon, and well, I won't be able to race the wingless up there, but we'll be up there with the sprint car, and I'd love to do double duties there one night because that joint's a hell of
How
a
cool would
joint
that
too.
be?
Yeah, well, I'm
That would
gonna
be
make it
cool.
happen one day. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
it happen.
Oh, you know what? I do hope it can happen for you, Todd, because I reckon you
Yeah.
might be the bloke who could pull off getting double wins too. So who knows? We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
What's been your favourite moment in the sport?
It's probably just being able to do it with a family. All my best friends and all our family friends are in the sport, and to be brought up in this environment, I think is one of the best environments you can be brought up in
Yeah.
around genuine people a lot of the time, and yeah, all my lifelong friends are from the sport, and yeah, it's incredible to be able to race all over the country and know people anywhere you go these days. I can go to Queensland tomorrow and be able to stay at someone's house, and yeah, could go anywhere in the country, and it's a really cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I hear you on that one. Yeah, it is cool like that, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, this is a question I ask, and I know that this is going to be two questions, okay? Because I know the answer straight away is going to fall down, right? But
Yeah.
your racing number in the wingless anyway, so it's V30. So I do ask, what's the? Is there any significance to that?
Not really. I think when the car owner was registering the car, he just wanted a V number and not a VA or VX or anything like that. So
Yep.
I think 30 was probably like one of the only ones left.
Really? So you think he was like that? He was that sort of focused. He just wanted a single letter number, not a dual letter number. Wow.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, what's the lowest sort of number we can get
Yeah.
with
Okay.
a simple V on it at the time. I think that was the deal. Yeah.
That was the game plan. All right, and I've seen your personal race number is the 26. Is
Yeah.
there any significance to the 26?
Yeah, there's a bit. My dad actually won the Australian 360 title in 2007, and he drove for a team out of Wagga Wagga, and they were 26. And when I started my sprint car career, my dad's old car owner, we're still very close family friends with, and he actually still owned one of the cars that we had, and he wanted me to keep the 26 legacy alive with his family. So yeah, that's what we did, and I've been 26 since, and yeah, I've always loved it.
How cool is that? I love hearing the story about how people get these numbers. That's
Yeah,
awesome. All right, I'm gonna throw another question there for you, right? And this is a bit of a curveball, but trust me, it's a good one.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of funky things in the pit areas. Okay, I've seen from people's home built trailers, open trailers, home built to carry all their stuff, to interesting pit mules.
yeah.
What 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 happened with this pit mule that you guys have got? Please tell me. How did this come about?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It was actually my dad's old car owner as well. Dave Argus, he owned Argyle Bull Bars in Wagga Wagga there, and that used to be their little delivery truck. There used to be a little tray on the back of it, and yeah, it was sitting at his place for a while, and Dad was like, "Oh, that'd be pretty cool if we could put a body on the back of that." So yeah, we got it off him, and we built a box for the back of it, and it's club registered.
It is.
Yeah, it's club registered, so we can. The first trip we went to Brisbane, racing a sprint car, and we didn't have a car to get around, so that's what we were getting around in that up
You're
there in
kidding.
Brisbane. So that was super cool, and yeah, we got Freddie from Max Dump's New Motorsport there. We made up some cool little wheels for it, and yeah, put some new tires on it. And yeah, it's no, it's definitely a bit of an eye catcher. People always come up and they want to talk about that more than me.
No, I just remember where did I first see it? Lismore it would have been. And I
Yeah.
thought, what the heck? And then like I saw it again and again. I thought, oh man, this thing's too cool. This sounds like the best mule, like pit mule in the house. So yeah, no, it's a very good thing. So yeah, trust your dad to think of something like that. So well done.
Yeah, that's what he's always about.
Hey, look, one thing I try and do for everyone who comes on the show is give them an opportunity to thank their partners, their sponsors, people who help them with their racing, because as we know, it's not cheap. So,
Yeah.
mate, the floor's all yours. Who out there you want to do a shout out to?
Yeah, I would just like to thank Larry and Rosa from LWI Motorsport. They're the ones that gave me the opportunity to race the wingless, and that they do a great job for a lot of people in the sport. They help a lot of wingless guys and other classes get up and down the road. They do a great thing for the sport, and their son Trav from TJE Fabrications. He's got his own business there and a little family. He's got that thing rolling pretty good, and I'd like to thank Andrew from Mainline Dynamometers. He's always been a huge supporter of my sport, me and my sport. This whatever class I've been running, he's always jumped on board and given us a hand. He's a great person for the sport and for myself. And yeah, just all our little partners that help get the LWI Motorsport team down the road. Yeah, they do a great job, and I can't thank them all enough. There's always a bit of a crew that comes along with them and helps out and cheers on. So yeah, I can't thank them enough, as well as my mum and dad. They do absolutely everything for me. They give me every opportunity I've ever had, so I can't thank them enough. They're great. And my sister, she's always supported me. We always have had a pretty tight battle when we were racing back then in the day, and yeah, I can't thank her and her partner Angus and their little boy Levi. Hopefully he can take after me rather than his dad, and
Nice,
he'll be just all right.
nice. Now, look, hey, again, I really appreciate you coming on. For anyone else who I think got the bad news you got after such a very successful Australian title, they probably wouldn't want to come on. But hopefully, this can just set the record straight for anyone out there saying anything. This is it, and I'll stand by my comments. I still believe you're A2. Like, to me, that didn't change. But rules are rules. Let's hope we get common sense, and we'll see you back at our racetrack very shortly.
Yeah, I just hope to come on here and just express that. Hopefully, that other people that may have had the same issue, they can go check their stuff and make sure they don't have the same
Yeah,
unfortunate situation that I do. I don't want to see anyone get rubbed out of something after a great achievement like we had. So yeah, I just hope that everyone makes sure their stuff's good, because I don't think anyone rocks up to the racetrack trying to do something illegal a lot of the time. So I think a lot of people are pretty genuine in this class, especially. They're just battlers trying to get through. And hey, it could come out of a wrecker car. You have a wrecker motor, you think it's a standard of stock that you can get it, and it may have dampeners in it or something so
there
simple
you
like
go.
that. And I just would hate to see someone else be in the same situation I am.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Todd. Yeah,
Nice.
can't say it more myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, Todd Moule there. I'll put down his racing page as well, so you guys can jump on and show them some love as well. But for now, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks very much. I appreciate you having me on.
No worries.